We have an update to our buried investigation tonight as workers return to tutor time of Mooresville today. The daycare is now telling parents soil samples from within its property show a few areas where coal ash is closer to the surface.
Now, that possibility has remained a concern of scientists who fear that kids could inhale tiny toxic particles or even put dirt into their mouth while playing. As Nate Morabito reported just last week, our own samples from just below the surface of a nearby public median showed unacceptable and risky levels of known carcinogens.
Now, as the daycare awaits its own test results from within the property, it continues to take action in the wake of our investigation.
You see the crews behind me. We'll take a look at this. This fencing and a barricade in the parking lot are new. Part of a plan by Tutor Time of Mooresville to give kids a safe place to play in the short term in areas where the daycare says early test results show the coal ash is buried deep enough beneath the ground. Another week, another set of changes at Tutor Time of Mooresville. In response to WCNC Charlotte's reporting, the daycare is finalizing plans for a complete playground renovation. But in the meantime, announced to parents it is rolling out a temporary play space in a designated area, an area where sampling determined there is more than sufficient topsoil above any coal ash fill. Those changes come as the daycare's soil boring samples showed the presence of coal ash below the topsoil in varying depths on the playground. Most of the property described as sufficiently covered, but a few unidentified sections found to have the coal ash mixture closer to the surface.
This is what I would want to know. Across the entire property, what is the depth of the coal ash?
Dr. Angela Hines served as medical consultant in the aftermath of a 2008 coal ash slurry spill in Tennessee. In a lawsuit, attorneys argued contracted cleanup workers who weren't wearing protective equipment were exposed daily to toxic levels of arsenic and radioactive material, among other contaminants. Hundreds became sick, and more than 60 died.
The case in the end was a referendum on the toxicity of coal ash.
She's since turned her attention to this daycare.
I hope that we will get a lot of data from the Tutor Time site.
Dr. Hines spent childhood summers in Lake Norman and says her mom and brother live there today. The Asheville physician says she began studying toxic exposure.
I had thyroid cancer in my 40s.
After that diagnosis.
We all have a right to know what we've been exposed to.
WCNC Charlotte has asked Tutor Time for specifics about just how deep the coal ash lies beneath the ground across this property. Tutor Time did not share that information Monday. To limit the potential risk, state and federal regulators require the coal-burning byproduct, placed here decades ago as fill dirt, to be buried at least 18 inches beneath the ground.
I would very much be concerned.
Scientists have told us the closer the cocktail of toxic elements is to the surface, the greater the risk vulnerable children could be exposed and suffer health impacts, sometimes years and even decades down the road. In a new message to parents, the daycare says final test results are expected in October, and parents will be informed of the findings. Nate Morabito, WCNC Charlotte.
Wow. Well, you can find Nate's full reporting on this story. There have been many so far. Inside the WCNC Charlotte mobile app, just scan the QR code on your screen to download that today.